Good evening, everyone. You're listening to Social Chatter, your weekly social media marketing talk show. My name is Christian Karasevich, CEO and founder of socialchefs.com. And we've got a great show for you this week. You're listening to episode 160. We're going to have Jessica Phillips on co-hosting this week. And then we're going to have a new guest. We've got Megan Powers on. Megan runs the Making a Marketer. She got a podcast. It's run by Powers of Marketing, as she calls it. Excited to have her on. Very busy day, by the way, for everybody. So we'll try to keep this to about 45 minutes or less this week. Jessica, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good, Christian. Just laughing a minute ago with you on now that you're outside of the States, we used to be able to hang out like at conferences and stuff. And now this is like our social time. So always glad to be back here and hang out with you and some awesome guests like Megan Powers. I'm so excited to have her on. She is a powerhouse, no pun intended, rock star businesswoman, and she comes with a lot of social knowledge to boot. So excited to have her on.
So let's bring her on. And I just talked about her podcast, but we'll have her introduce herself. So Megan, how are you? It's great to have you on.
Hello.
Yay.
So we have, so you have a podcast. What else? So we were talking before the show, but you've got a podcast. You were telling me something about, I think you were doing you had some meetings, I think at a university, but tell us more about yourself.
Well, I live in San Diego, sunny San Diego.
So jealous right now.
Yeah. The land of social media marketing world, but so much more, of course. And I have for about 5 years now. I've had my own marketing consultancy. I'm sort of like a strategic agency. It's just me most of the time, but I do have contractors that I bring in when I need them. And my jam really has been meetings and events for like the last 20 years. I've been in that industry in one form or another. So by virtue of that, a lot of my clients have been within that space as well. So I have a love for that face-to-face and the combination of the online as well. But so the marketing that I do is soup to nuts, really not just social, but a lot of social, obviously, because there's a big need. But really end-to-end marketing, total strategic, integrative approach. And and I have a new client. It's the San Diego State Hospitality and Tourism Management School. At San Diego State. So marrying my event experience with my love of marketing, and that's been super fun.
Very nice.
Clients love you, by the way. I've had a chance to hang out with Megan. I was on her show, which if you guys have not heard it, or check it out. Making a Marketer, she brings on some fantastic guests, a unique approach to doing the recording. It's all live video and then recorded. So you feel like you're literally hanging out with them when you're listening. But I met up with her in San Diego after Social Media Marketing World. We had a kind of powwow at one of her client locations, and they were just raving over her, loving her, and treating us like kings and queens, bringing out some appetizers and stuff. So if you visit San Diego, she's the woman to know to get treated very well by her clients.
Thank you for saying that.
Very nice. Yeah. What was that?
I said, thanks for saying that. That's very nice of you.
So true.
So I'm surprised we haven't run into one another in San Diego as well. But when I'm there, hopefully I'll get to meet you in person. So, but it's great to have you on the show this week.
It's nice to be a guest. I didn't have to. It's like Chabel's turn. It's awesome.
You get to just sit back with your wine and enjoy. So cheers, Megan.
My new 49ers wine tumbler that I just got.
Nice. Love it.
So Jessica, where do you want to start this week? We have a lot of topics, a lot of big.
Yeah.
What do you want to start with?
Well, we'll keep this positivity rolling and start talking about the new Instagram update. They rolled out some tools to limit bullying and spread some kindness on Instagram. They did have a previous update that was filtering the comments and all that to go against anti-bullying. Now they're looking at the images, not only the images that are shared, trying to use some AI in order to kind of find and censor those, allow people to report the images, but also some cute little filters to spread some kindness to people that you want to brighten their day. So give a filter, allow you to put a little heart emoji, some words of kindness, depending on if you're, taking the filter front facing of yourself. Then you can send it and tag a friend to brighten their day and then send it to them. Or you can use it to point to something else. Maybe you find something outside that could cheer someone up, maybe a something inspirational, whatever. They're going to put some images, or not just your image, but some words with that that you can tag and send to someone else. So they're trying to go with this whole anti-bullying movement on social media. It's been a place where some bullying can happen, unfortunately, and people feel like there's no consequences to it. But Instagram says, yeah, no, we're gonna stand up to this and try to put a stop.
So I'm interested in this, there are certain aspects of this. Like, I like the fact they're using AI, but what do you think about, using AI to control bullying? Like, should that be something that, we let AI kind of handle, or should it be up to a person? What do you think? Because this seems like it's kind of overstepping some boundaries, in my opinion.
You asking me or Megan first?
Whoever wants to chime in first.
Go ahead, Megan.
That's an interesting perspective. I hadn't thought about it that way. I mean, everything feels like it's overstepping anymore, and we'll get into more of that when we talk about Facebook's new product. I like the idea of it. I don't know how effective it's going to be, and I feel like I'm going to be a little bit of a pessimist tonight, or whatever the other opinion, but I don't know. I think that it's great if the AI is true to knowing that that's what is happening, but does it? And it's kind of like just kind of putting something shiny on, like making a turd shiny, kind of, for lack of a better, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of
hashtag shiny turd.
Yeah. But today is Mental Health Awareness Day. And so on that front, I'm excited that at least they're making an effort to make a movement towards something more positive, because as we know, social media is one of the biggest sources nowadays for lower self-esteem in teens and in everyone, really, in a lot of ways. So I think that anything that can be done to make it more positive is a good thing.
I agree.
Christian, what do you think? I mean, how do you feel like the AI is overstepping?
So I sort of feel like, so if you take a look at the screen that we have up, I mean, I pulled up the controls that are there for people, and you can go in and you can control your comments. So you can allow comments from certain people. You can block them. You can hide offensive comments. You can turn on manual filtering, to block certain words separated by commas, filter words that are, the most important. So like the part I feel that, kind of controls everything is, or it kind of makes it just kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it's just, to me, I think that, with AI, I mean, I'm glad you can control things, but people still need to be able to, recognize these things. We're trying to say, hey, everything is we're going to control all these aspects of your life. And hey, you can kind of shield yourself from this, because while they're still does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the part that, to me is a bit disturbing.
Well, I think, okay, so I have a little bit different viewpoint, but I do agree with both of your comments. But I feel like we're all about privacy in the same respect. So if it was a human going through and analyzing our posts and what we're doing, then we're going to say that's an invasion of privacy. I do think that they're moving a step in the right direction. And if people know that this is a potential that they're going to have it taken down, because there's this automation process to it that is reviewing and scanning and looking for that kind of thing, that it hopefully will get somebody to think twice. And hopefully it's not just because of that aspect, but this is allowing to multiply somebody's time. If it was an individual that's searching for it, one, but I do agree that sometimes AI is not a human, so it can't read maybe jokes or whatever, or something, and use discernment the same way that a human could. So I do feel like there should be some kind of review process. I don't know what that's going to look like for Instagram, but I do feel like this is probably something that is needed AI is probably a good solution is for privacy reasons for all of us that are worried about somebody kind of scoping out and checking out our stuff. But at the same time, that does need to maybe go back if somebody is saying, no, why did you remove that? This isn't, that what you're thinking it is. I want a manual review, that there is some step like that could happen to where you feel like you have a real human kind of understanding what you were trying to post.
Yeah. And, at the same time, I also feel that people, like Instagram, for instance, a lot of people, they will run 2 Instagram accounts. They'll have one for like their kind of test channel, and they'll run one for their main channel. And I sort of feel like, by having the ability to hide a lot of this stuff, you are like, I agree 100% that, they do need to find a way to control bullying. But I also think that sometimes it also teaches people courage and to stand up for themselves. It helps develop them, I think, in a way, versus like, oh, hey, if everything's kind of done for me, I don't have to I don't have to put the effort. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I agree.
Any thoughts, Megan?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that especially for like public figures, they're just hammered, and it's just like, and I know a lot of them will say, I don't even look or whatever, but I don't know. I think that there's a place to like build a tough skin. I don't think that Instagram's necessarily the place for that. It's just
very true. Okay.
People should just be kind. Hashtag be kind, please.
Be good to people.
Yeah.
By the way, so are you going to use any of these kindness camera effects? Because they have a new thing where you have to follow somebody. You have to follow like Maddie Ziegler, a dancer, an actor, and a teen author, I guess, in order to get access.
I thought that part was a little odd.
Yeah.
You have to follow this very specific person, not like this hashtag or movement. It's this poster child for all things kindness, which maybe she's awesome. I don't know. I'm sure she is awesome, I should say. But I just thought it was a little strange that you had to follow this very specific individual in order to get and unlock this Easter egg of a filter. But yeah, I would love to send it out. Why not? Like, it's fun.
I bet you it's just the way they rolled it out, and that eventually it'll be available.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe they're using it as a testing grounds, like to say, hey, let's see what it's like, because they've been starting to work with a lot of personalities and public figures of sorts to be able to offer certain things through some of their tools that they're offering. So we'll see. But for right now, again, another good step from Instagram. So we'll see how this kind of develops.
Yeah.
So Jessica, where do you want to go next, by the way? So we've got Instagram. So there's nothing new else with Instagram really this week. What else do you think is?
I think we should have a moment of silence for Google Plus. Shutting down.
Moment of silence for Google Plus. Yes.
It's not yet. It's funny because I read the article and I went on last time. Obviously, I already heard, and I went on and I was like, people are still posting.
Yeah. Now they're trying to like get it in while the getting's good, I guess is what you'd say. But so
you didn't get the news.
They didn't. They're like, wait, before you close the door, hold on. I got one more thing. But Project Strobe is what they're calling it, protecting your data, improving our third-party APIs, and sunsetting Google Plus, consumer Google Plus, mind you, which I love that they added that end on there. And I feel like they were like, here's a bunch of updates. By the way, we're closing Google Plus. Just wanted to throw that in there at the end of this article. But so they are shutting down Google Plus. They've taken a hard look, something that they've known for a while, like they said, and people aren't using Google Plus. And the people that were using, it was super sad. They were like, the average person spends 5 seconds on there. I was like, it probably just took them that long to load it, right? But
copy and paste and get out.
Yeah. Well, I was using Google Plus, actually, not as a social network, but as a syndication network, I guess you would call it. So I would always like publish our blogs and then would share it on Google Plus. However, even though Google Plus is quote unquote dying, dead, whatever you want to call it, dead man walking. On the Google My Business, however, they rolled out this announcement. This is not part of the article, just my 2 cents added in. But they have allowed you to make posts on your Google My Business profile, where you can share an update there just like what I was doing on Google Plus. So I'm fine with this news. You can share an article there and it stays for 30 days. You can also share like offers and announcements, all kinds of stuff on your Google My Business profile. So if you have a Google My Business profile, you're still good if you were doing the same thing that Christian and I do, which is share our blog post that we used to share on Google Plus. You can now do it on Google My Business. I guess the big piece of this article, besides them dying, is just all the areas that they seen vulnerabilities with kind of the access points to your data. So they were trying to remove all of that, scrub it, and a big piece where you're logging in using maybe the Google feature where people could see your call records and what you were doing with texting. They're removing that access point, which I don't think many people even check when you're logging in through a third party and saying, do you agree? And they're like really small print. They're like, by the way, we can see all your friends list, your phone calls, and everything pretty much that you share in here. And so they've seen some vulnerabilities. They said something like 5 billion people or 500, I don't know. It was a big number of people that were actually compromised in this. And so they're trying to clean up their mess a little bit there over at Google.
So Megan, big deal for you with Google Plus shutting down?
No, I haven't, I hadn't gone in there in a really, really long time. So I had a client, there was a startup software company in the events industry, and he decided after 4 years to shut her down. So the last time I think I was in there was December, because I would still, for SEO, I would still post our blog posts in there. And then for my own personal business, I haven't been very good about painting my own house. I've been, busy with the podcast and everything surrounding that. But outside of that, just like not writing that much for my own business and all that kind of stuff. So I haven't really felt compelled to go there. Yeah. But I would say, do you guys think it's still, in terms on the business side? Obviously, the consumer, I did 0 on the consumer side.
I think the hits from it. Go ahead, Jessica. Oh, I was just going to say, I got hits to my website every month. I would see hits back to our website from Google Plus. And I don't think it was necessarily people hanging out, talking on Google Plus, as we could see, like nobody was. But for the SEO benefits, heck yes. Like I would see that each and every month. It wasn't like the number 1 or 2 social traffic driver, but it was definitely up in the reports to show enough traffic to still warrant me sharing the blog post there. What about you guys? Did you see that?
Worth a copy and a paste. Got it.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely SEO benefits for Google Plus. That was kind of the main reason why people used it. I think the biggest challenge, at least for me, for using Google Plus was, or at least not for me, more for like, clients that I work with, like their friends weren't on there, for example. And that I think is why Google Plus really didn't get the adoption. I know quite a few people that still use it. We actually have recently moved over to, let me make sure I get this name right. I think it's called WeMe or MeWe. MeWe, actually. It's a great, like if you're running any sort of community, it's a good alternative to Google Plus. That way you don't have to, because people that aren't.
And your friends are there, but they weren't in Google Plus?
Some communities are moving over to that from Google Plus.
Okay, I got you.
On the shutdown, yeah. Because they still allow you to have like.
They're like, last call. What place do you want to go to next? Let's all go over here and still hang out. Like you do, like after the bar, and you go to somebody else's house, and like the communities dwindle, but the cool kids still go over and hang out with each other.
Well, I think Google Hangouts was the biggest draw for people for a while there, right? Like the Google Hangout groups and stuff. And as video became prevalent on every other platform, they started to lose ground immediately.
Yeah, I would say Blab. Honestly, as soon as Blab hit, it was like, see ya. Now we can hang out with all these people and watch your shows, and it wasn't as buggy, And then we all know what happened with Blab. We don't speak of it, but moved on to other ones.
It gave a number of us a good start, though. We started our show there, or I think we were at Google Plus actually. We started, but Blab was fantastic, fantastic tool when it started. So. But Google Plus, bottom line, August 2019. So you've got quite a number of months, 10 months Not a big deal, it's shutting down. Nothing you really have to do there unless you want to. If you have an existing community, maybe move that community to, say, chances are you also probably have a Facebook group, for example, if you have a community on Google Plus as well. So you may just want to move those people into your group or move them to another platform potentially. But any last words on Google Plus? I don't think we're going to talk more about Google Plus after tonight's show.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, R.I.P.
But yeah, good. I'm glad to see Google's kind of trying to get back to their core business with this. Yeah. They try a lot of things. I'm glad they're trying to be protective.
Trying a heck of a lot of things. Alphabet, they got the business for every letter of the alphabet. Yeah. Seriously, like not kidding. Like, what is their core? Anyway, I love Google.
So I want to thank everybody who's watching. By the way, we've got Gail watching. We've got Barb Tomlin, Mike Gingrich just stopped by using the hashtag Shiny Turd. Wow.
It's trending.
So thanks
now.
a lot for stopping by. Yes. So where do you want to go next, Jessica? We got, we picked out a lot of things to talk about this week.
Yeah, I feel like all of these are fun this week, and definitely going to get a mixed probably bag of ideas and opinions on this. I actually shared this into my group and just to see what people's reaction was of this. And so far, not so good, but it's Facebook Portal. So introducing Facebook Portal from Facebook, new video calling device to connect you with friends and family. But wait, there's more. It's kind of like, well, actually it is. It has Alexa built into it. And your events that you would maybe have on Facebook and Facebook calling through Messenger. So I can definitely see a benefit because I have more people on Messenger that I'm talking with that I don't necessarily have their phone number, right? Or maybe they're like you, Christian, and you live overseas and probably not racking up that phone bill, or neither are you. So we use Messenger, right? So I could see this as a benefit. And they were showing like some live video and some other things that you can do with it. So it's kind of a hybrid of Alexa meets FaceTime meets video meets events for Facebook all added in. But wait, they give you a little thing that you can put over your camera on your speaker, just so you know they're not watching when you're not using it. That was the kicker for me. I was like, you're kidding, right?
Exactly. I was reading this and I was like, you're giving me a cover to put over my camera. Way to go. Like,
it's like,
yeah.
And we're done here. Sorry. Bye. Okay.
All for the low price of, what was it? $199 or $349. They have two models, and you get $100 off if you buy 82 devices. So
like, there's so many out there. Okay, whatever, Facebook. Yes. I get it.
So so what do we think about this? By the way, so Portal from Facebook, Megan, what do you think? You gonna buy one of these?
What's funny is that when you first mentioned it, I think when we first messaged, it was like the day that it came out or the next day or something. And then I realized I had seen a commercial for it. And I was like, oh, I didn't really know what it was, but it did strike me, the fact that the camera was moving, because I have a nephew who's in the military. He's a Marine, and he lives in North Carolina, and his family is in San Diego. And so he's like there for bath time and everything. They just they put him on FaceTime and they just set him on the counter, and then he's just like in the room. So this would be like a perfect thing for them, because it's funny because I was like, nobody's talking to Joe. And then it occurred to me, oh, that's because he's just like sitting in the room with us, and he'd chime in like he would if he was just sitting there. So I think this for that would be amazing. If I had such a device, would have it powered down in a drawer, like in a box, in a vault, and like never use it for anything that I wouldn't want anyone to get access to, because I don't care what they say. I know somebody's listening, because I know that I get ads for things that I haven't searched on. There's absolutely no way. Like Santa Clarita is a city in Southern California where Kelly Noble Mirabella lives. She and I were talking about Santa Clarita. The next day I had ads. I had Facebook ads for Santa Clarita. What?
And you never search it. Yeah, we were talking about edible fruit, like random, like the most random thing. We're talking about, oh, have you ever had this edible fruit from this place? What did we start receiving the next day? All of us, like these ads for this stuff. And it's like, you never search that, and it's just completely random. So yeah, I do believe that there's people listening.
Definitely, and I can totally agree with you all on that point. I've had times where I've been thinking about doing something, or maybe I was running a piece of software on my computer and I went to go type like one character, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, how to do this in, Final Cut Pro, for example.
It read your mind.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. Wait,
seriously
what?
does it all? It does this. Seriously, it does this all the time. Yes. So it is bizarre. But so I do not disagree with
the law
you.
of attraction software embedded into your ad.
And the next thing what's going to come out. We're going to have ads for Facebook Portal. Kind of probably like the Amazon Kindle Fire devices. They have targeted ads at that point. I expect Facebook to have the same thing. Okay, so here's the thing. I think for parents, this will be for people who travel, fantastic tool. Everybody's going to be using that. From that perspective, Facebook says, hey, we're not going to be looking at, they're not going to be tracking your facial recognition or using facial recognition. They're not going to be storing any data. I don't necessarily believe that, but, that's what they say.
You can use it in groups and like hang out and talk and have like a call. I'm game. I will be the sucker that buys this. I'll just admit it here publicly. Okay, I'm going to be the one that buys it, and I'll let you know all how it goes. But
so which one are you going to get, by the way? Because there's two models. There's a 10-inch model with a resolution of 1280 by 800.
Gotta go big or go home.
15
right?
with an HD display.
I gotta go big, of course.
HD.
Yeah, I gotta go HD.
Portal Plus.
And just try it out, probably even at the office, just as a talking point, one. And two, like if you can use it, like we talk to clients and I talk to people all the time on Messenger. Mm-hmm. So this would be nice as a hands-free option, honestly, just for the hands-free aspect. And if we're doing like maybe a multi-person, talk, then maybe they're in the office with me or whatever. I do like the motion kind of sensor piece. I don't know how that'll work, but we'll figure it out.
I think they should add a WhatsApp integration.
Mm-hmm.
I'm totally waiting for WhatsApp to be and I've said this last week and I think the week before, probably the week before that, but this is Facebook's like first act is Facebook, second act is Instagram, third act is going to be WhatsApp. They haven't tapped into WhatsApp. I'm currently overseas. WhatsApp is huge here. Like everything is done via WhatsApp. People use Facebook, but WhatsApp is where most business gets conducted. So I'm excited I want them to have WhatsApp as well on this. I guess I would even see them maybe saying, hey, let's do an Instagram version maybe.
Yeah. If they can integrate live video with it, sold. Even better. Like I feel like a lot of people would then opt for this. If you can go live potentially. I mean, then I know that it would require so much other pieces to it, but I feel like this may be the entry point of doing, having it as a live camera that can sense motion and do things like that. Maybe. I don't know. I could see.
So I could totally see somebody, Jessica, like getting like, 10 of these, for example, and putting them at like, a table in their office and like just having a meeting, a real virtual meeting with all of these devices. Like, this one's, maybe somebody will do that and make a bunch of YouTube videos.
I'm only buying one. You guys can do the rest of them.
I think it's pretty cool. I will say if they can get the live video to work, really well with this, I think this would make a lot of sense. My big question, and you kind of alluded to this at the beginning, is, you have too many devices. You've got every device is doing the same thing. You've got Alexa, you've got Amazon Alexa devices. You've got Apple HomePod. Sonos is trying to get into the business. What else? What other ones have I forgotten here?
Your laptop.
Yep. Exactly. Your laptop, your phone. I mean, it's like, well, I have a phone. Why do I need, with a camera? Why do I need to be buying?
I also think it's Facebook's way of getting into more hardware. Like they went with the Oculus, right? They put a big big money into that. They're trying to get more people probably comfortable with using AR. So they have some of that built in. And this is kind of that entry point of, okay, get a little comfortable with it. Now maybe you're, investing in the Oculus, but they're trying to bring more hardware of theirs as they can introduce people to more immersive technologies. So I think this is probably, that's their MO would be my guess.
Yeah,
so if I'm a business
party, but they're a little late to the party, I think,
Mhm.
but it's totally like, this is step one for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the interesting thing with like, when you like, I totally get trying to get into AR and AI and whatnot. This is a good step to get people comfortable with it. The fact that they're late to the party, like, do you think people are going to just like throw away their device and say, oh, hey, I'm going to replace this with a Facebook portal? Or are they going to have, we're going to have just a bunch of devices and plug in whichever one you want to use?
I think it says it can use with the other, like integrate with the other Alexa devices that you may have. So it could just be one that you have another. It's not like replacing it would be my guess. I would just say it's in addition to.
So for those of you watching, by the way, or if you're watching the replay, let us know. You're going to be buying a Facebook portal, $199 or $349. By the way, do you think the price is right? Do you think it needs to be more or less? Good value? What do you think, Jessica?
I would say they probably are looking at like iPad kind of synergy of the old school iPads and Kindles, and that's probably where they got their pricing. It seems very comparable to that. I think I would say 149 is pretty good. I don't know. The 300 is kind of getting up there.
I feel like my first iPad I have the one, and it was like $7.99. It was not cheap for what I got, because it didn't have any video. Like, it's got no camera on it or anything. So again, like,
Oh, so you got it early on.
No, literally the first, And I haven't, see, you can tell that I'm not going to buy this portal thing, because I haven't replaced my one iPad, my iPad 1 version 1.0, because it's good enough. Like, I got my books on there. The battery life does suck, but for more than anything, it's like a Kindle for me now, and I can, no apps are updated on it because the OS is too old.
I was like, don't update to the newest version.
Hold on, you probably have the skeuomorphism that's going on when they used to do like, the Notepad had a Notepad app and whatnot, right? Because you can't update the operating system.
She's like, I just use it as a reader of my books.
I haven't even tried for years. There were a couple apps that were like, we can't update, your OS is too old. I was like, all right, what else? And then I haven't even, I hardly even pulled it out. But yeah, I definitely have a bunch of books on there that maybe I need to put my Kindle app on my MacBook Pro. That's the other thing. I spend all this money on a MacBook Pro, so it does a lot.
But that's your workhorse, that should be like the workhorse in the business, having that laptop, tablet, as a secondary device, I think. But so if I'm a business, are you going to recommend this to clients, by the way, Megan? Facebook portal, or do you think, what do you think?
I don't see a use case for any of my clients.
Okay.
But different strokes for different folks, I guess. It's just, I see it more, I don't know, I see it more of a personal thing than being used in business, because there's just so many other options in the workplace that we've already been using.
MLM companies are probably the only that I could see a use case for, that have like multiple one-to-one chats via Messenger and add like umpteen people into their stuff. Once it has live video in there, then yes, a use case. I just say when it's going to, because it has to happen to make sense, I think. But other than that, I wouldn't see a use case for businesses either. It's just going to be like a novelty, luxury, fun item to have.
Yeah. I mean, and as you mentioned, like if you can get this into live video, like I think it's going to be fantastic from that perspective, because then you'll be able to, somebody will be cooking dinner, for instance, and they're able to tune into your live show.
You mean live video broadcast? It's already live video, it's not broadcast.
Right. That's what I mean. Yes, exactly. Like a live video broadcast.
On your page versus just in Messenger. Yeah, but I mean, if you think about it, like if you have clients that are on here and you're trying to show them something, like if you run a Facebook group or something, you're like, hey, let me jump on a private message. I'll show you how to do this. Like they're showing like workouts and stuff. Let me show you how. Like, granted, you could already do that in the Facebook group, but it just may be a little bit more personalized. Also, video chats. But you can kind of do that now, just you're holding your phone. So, like I said, it's just another novelty luxury item. Say.
Yeah. By the way, Megan, from an iPad perspective, I have not updated my iPad as well. I love tech, but it's something that, you can only use so many devices at once. So definitely I side with you on that, get as much use out of it. Katie Miller here watching said, hey, her iPad Air is 5 years old. She didn't buy an iPad. She bought an iPad Pro. She's using both of them. But it also comes down to what your business is. I'd say, from a tech perspective, get what fits your business. So if you see a use case in your business, that, worth the investment, to test out. But, if you're like, hey, I've run a certain type of business and this is not kind of my thing, don't try to force it. That's the key thing.
Yeah.
Like if you're doing, like, say you're doing live personal training or something like that. Like I see that the camera being able to move with you being as like super valuable. But again, it's all context, right? Depending on what your business is.
So
and that's a good point, by the way, because if you're moving during a video and you need it to kind of follow you, most of the time what people will do is they will watch. It really kind of just doesn't sink in the first time because they're like, oh, I got to pause the video or I got to try to do multitask. I think, in certain cases.
It's like Blair Witch Project.
Yeah. Anytime someone walks with their video, I get motion sickness watching it. I have a really hard time.
For real. Yeah.
So should that be like should that be almost like a metric maybe in somebody's reporting, like, 5 people got motion sickness during your live video?
How Blair Witch Project is our video chats. Scale, what is it?
It's almost Halloween. So good reference there, Jessica. So where do you want to go next, Jessica? I think we've talked enough about Facebook portal.
Let's talk about how we're going to pay for all this stuff that's rolling out. So Square expands its bank-like offerings, letting sellers charge customers in installments. So Square, the app that many small businesses use to take credit card payments, or not just that, like loyalty, and really build a complete offering community around the way that they're collecting payments. Square is saying, hey, not only are we going to let you take the payments at a very low cost for your business, but we're going to really work for your customers and let them decide if they want to split the payments up, 3, 6 month, 12-month split of installment. So they're going to be willing to maybe spend more money for you. And the best part about this, Square carries the burden of, if somebody doesn't pay, they're taking that risk for you. They're making the application process super simple and discreet right at the terminal. So nobody has to fill out an application, or even where others could see them potentially in line filling out this long application. It's pretty quick, seamless. They're ready and approved in moments. And their whole motto is approving and providing a bank service for the people that don't really have the creditor backing potentially, or getting approved other places. So they're not ones that carry traditional credit cards. They've already started rolling this out, seeing a great increase, and even over 70% of people that said that they would be willing to spend more if they had more flexible options that allowed them to keep their budget. And it's working out already for some of the businesses that they've expanded this to. I've seen this throughout several different apps that I've been on, even like ones like Expedia, where they're linking in with other tools to allow split payments. So I think this is a very smart move on Square's part, and a really good opportunity for many small businesses, especially before the holiday, to get customers the opportunity to buy something that they want without the burden of having all the money up front.
Definitely. What do you think, Megan? Good move?
I like it. And I'm curious about a couple things. So, and maybe I missed this in the fine print of the article. Is there an interest rate? Are you
up to 24%? Yeah.
Okay. Yep. And what are they in terms of the credit check? Are they checking through like the normal avenues of credit check? Or are they looking at like how much money you spent through Square?
They're looking at public provided data. A lot of businesses are moving in this way, that are kind of the non-banks that are getting into this avenue of investments, basically. So they're looking at kind of some user-facing things and kind of your spending habits that are already public without doing a hard credit pool. So that's how they're going to improve more people. But you probably most likely have a higher interest rate should you have some negative things that are kind of front-facing and that they have access to. I don't know how they get the access or what it is, but pretty much nobody's like that I've seen would be declined this opportunity. Not saying that's not going to happen, but they have very lenient rules. But you're looking at upwards of 24, 25% interest rate.
Yeah, that's high. But I see this as being really successful, especially right before Christmas. Because I'm personally throughout life have been like, oh yeah, I'll split payments on this up depending on what it is. I'm no longer the sucker for, you know, apply for some credit and save 15% right now. I felt that when I was younger.
You're only going to get 25% on your statement, but we'll say 15% right now. Yeah.
Save me $3.08. Yeah, sure. That'd be great.
Yeah, I agree. From a business perspective, you know, this will be good to offer, you know, your customers, you know, another option to pay for your services. I do wonder, how's this going to work for people that are selling? You know, a lot of people sell online courses, ridiculously overpriced online courses. You know, are they going to be charging people, you know, in installments, and hey, they're getting some extra bucks there, and they're not really selling good product, or is this going to just get open to, you know, just the actual business who sells physical goods, and that type of thing, you know. But this, I like the direction Square is trending. I think that they've done a great job over the past few years, you know, trying to take out like PayPal, you know, because a lot of people have been kind of disenchanted with PayPal. So they're doing that.
But everybody loves Venmo, and Venmo is owned by PayPal. So
yeah. I love PayPal. They're good people. Like I've done some work with them recently, and they're awesome. But
do you guys accept credit card payments from clients?
Yeah, we have them set up on automatic payments.
Do you work the fees into what you're charging the client, or you just eat it? I mean, I just eat overhead, right? But okay.
Yeah. I mean, usually it's a couple bucks. I mean, so not that big.
Curious for yourself, but
she's got
it adds up, you know.
Big agency. Jessica's big time.
I just got a lot of people I got to pay to do the work. Yeah.
No, what I mean is, you know, it adds up. I mean, it does add up. But, you know,
but the convenience of knowing you get paid this day, worth it. You know, worth it.
So, you know, and I mean, we try to offer all the options. I mean, you know, the biggest thing is it depends on who, you know, your client, who you're working with. Some people, you know, they just can't get into some of these services. You know, they don't have the credit or whatever. So that's where I think I actually think having Square installments will actually be pretty good for people. And, you know, the ability to, you know, I like the idea, by the way, like kind of what you said, Jessica, like they make the process easy for people to be able to like get approval. And then the percentage that they get charged is probably based off of, you know, what their credit history is, for example.
Yeah, people just don't want to go with credit cards anymore. They know, they know that how it works. They're more trusting of apps like this and online, you know, applications that are like, hey, we'll split it up for you. And I've seen this a lot, not just with Square. Like I said, I mean, Expedia has like 3 different apps kind of like this built in. I've seen it a lot of places. So I feel like this is like the credit cards of the future, even online lending, you know what I mean? Like I've seen that quite a bit more with different places that are kind of doing the same premise and kind of going on a trust principle of, you apply, we look at the data first, give you kind of an offering, then we may do like a hard credit check, but it's moving away from credit cards per se, which I think is a smart move. I still have to be wise of what you're doing, you know, and keeping in budget. The whole goal is to allow you to, you know, break the payments up, like Megan said. And overall, though, a great move for small businesses to be able to sell more things faster.
Fantastic. And I bet this. Go ahead.
Sorry. No, I was just saying, like, for the business itself to not have to commit to, like, a bank providing credit.
Exactly. And that's a good thing because technology is changing so rapidly these days that, you know, a lot of people, you know, they're currently using like, terminals, you know, cash register terminals. And, you know, they probably have a ridiculous, you know, contract in place to where, you know, it's been slower than for them to adopt rollout of, say, Apple Pay or Samsung's payment model or Square in some cases, because they're still, you know, roped into whatever that service was they're using with, you know, like the contract. So this is a good move.
That's usually tied to inventory though, too. So it gets a little in retail environments and stuff where they have physical goods. A lot of times that POS system isn't just ringing it up and having them pay for it. It's tied to inventory. It's tied to warehousing.
Mm-hmm.
It's tied to like many other elements.
Yeah, absolutely right.
And Square offers, and that's the other thing. Square also offers their package basically for a business to be able to quickly set up a terminal as well. So I bet I would be surprised at how much time this would save, for people being able to quickly set up their inventory, quickly keep tabs on how the business is doing.
And just the built-in reward programs. Like a lot of the clients that we've worked with that have Square, like their rewards program that's built in, and the insights and analytics that they give them on who their customers are, what they're enjoying, like how they're spending, like it's pretty slick. I would say, a small business getting started, it's pretty easy and pretty user friendly for businesses to get started. I know, to Megan's point, if they already have a large inventory and they've already set up this big POS, it probably is a bigger jump than what most businesses are willing to do. But if you're just getting started, I would highly recommend checking something like that out.
Definitely. Sure. So do we have any other topics for tonight, Jessica, or do we want to move on to a couple of tools? What do you think?
We can move on to tools. There is a couple other topics, but we can maybe just put that in the recap if you'd like.
Yeah, sure.
Let's move on to tools.
Great. So it is now tool time on Social Chatter. And, we've got some good tools for you. I'm going to pull these up for you. We'll go through these real quickly. And by the way, for those of you who want to get the blog recap, you can head to socialchefs.com/daily. That'll get you the blog recap. I'll send that out tomorrow to everybody. But the first tool that we have for this week is called Temi, Temi. I'm going to pull this up for everyone. And, this is the bottom line. This is a speech to text transcription software. Basically, you upload your video content. What they're going to do is they're then going to process it, give you back a Word file, Microsoft Word document, a PDF, SRT file, a VTT file that you can upload to your YouTube channel or to your Facebook Live videos, put it on your blog, and it's 10 cents per minute, the bottom line. Jessica, do you all use any tools such as this?
No, we use a human. Maybe this would probably be a lot less expensive.
Well, that's what I was going to ask, because I learned about a transcription tool at World, and I don't remember what it was, but I was kind of wondering if this was comparable in price. But it's funny that as a marketer, when I see a claim like that without context, speech to text transcription in 5 minutes. Well, what if I send you a 3-hour speech? You transcribe it in 5 minutes?
Very possible. It comes down to how they're doing it. I mean, if they're using automation, a lot of people are using automation these days to churn out this. Most of the services I've worked with, they take a couple of days usually to do some transcription, maybe a day, 2 days. So
I've been saying that I need to transcribe my podcast shows and repurpose the content in blogs and other ways. And so that I mean, 10 cents per minute seems pretty affordable.
I like the idea of these, but I also like the human element as well, because like with the team member that we use to translate Magnet Marketer shows, when we're done with it each week, she has the human discretion of saying, okay, this would probably flow best here. I'm going to add a little bit of context, add the links in, and format it all the way. Now, granted, you can go back and do that with this transcription, especially if you're a solopreneur and you're doing this on your own. You can do that all on your own after somebody transcribes it. It would save you a whole lot of time. I get that. But I don't think that anybody under the impression that you can just transcribe and go would be a smart move, because I've even watched and listened, or I should say read some back that have been transcribed, and I'm like, ooh, that wasn't really the word I used, or that isn't.
Yeah, you definitely need a human to edit, to review and edit. But yeah, I mean,
I'll just see this for the same time.
I think this is like a fraction, because now that I think about it, I think the other tools I've seen have been by word, not by minute. So that is different, especially if somebody talks fast.
This had some good reviews though, so people are using it and liking it.
Yeah, and they do have quite a few companies working with them. I think they're working with ESPN and University
Kind of a big deal.
Texas at Austin, PBS, Wall Street Journal, apparently. Again, I'm not sure if it's trusted by 10,000 plus customers. I'm not sure if they're exactly a customer or, hey, maybe they've wrote us a good review or something. But, maybe the Wall Street Journal, for example. So that's tool one for the week. I mean, 10 cents per minute, might as well, drop, a couple dollars, test out some of it, see how the service is, and if it doesn't work for your business, it doesn't work. Don't, like I said earlier, don't try to force it if it's not going to work.
You can try it for free.
Exactly. So by the way, if you have a couple podcasts, that's where you could probably save it up and say, hey, let me just dump all these in there and see what they spit out. I think that's a good start. And then, decide what you want to do. So the second tool, by the way, for the week, and this one I'm actually really excited about. I don't know if you had a chance to check this one out, Jessica.
I did. The Relike. Yeah.
Yes.
That reminds me of a tool I'm using, but a little different. But yeah.
So which tool are you currently using?
Paperly. Paper.li.
Okay,
It does not bring in the Facebook page, though. It just brings in your Twitter. But it's a curated news source. So you can bring in other curated articles and translate it into one newsletter. And then it goes out, publishes. So you can bring in content that that your audience is going to like, and bring it all into one and then have it right there. But this is kind of cool because I've not seen one that does this before. Me
either. And so this is specifically a Facebook page tool. What it does, in a nutshell, it lets you take a Facebook page and you can customize an email newsletter that's just your content from your Facebook page. So totally customizable. So it's not just hey, here's my post, great, but you can curate it and craft it in a way that keeps your audience engaged.
Well, and is it business pages only?
It is. Facebook pages. So I would assume it would be just Facebook pages. Yes.
Okay. Because my first thought was ooh, how fun! For people who spit their life out on their Facebook page, but they have family who's not on there, to be able to create your Christmas newsletter from Facebook.
Your highlights.
That's actually a good idea. I mean, I haven't tried it for my profile, but for pages, I mean, I love the whole idea actually, because everybody knows how hard it is to get in front of somebody on the newsfeed nowadays. So if you're not getting organic reach, you're then having to spend a lot of money on ads. This way, you can do a customizable newsletter. You could even create something that's unique to your audience, I think. That way, you're not giving them everything, but you're giving them a chunk of, what's new on your Facebook page.
And then you're emailing it out. So then if they haven't been checking out your Facebook, then that might compel them to, that's pretty freaking cool. I like that a lot.
Good little way to game the news feed a little bit, maybe too. Oops. Like you said.
Heard you say that.
What?
They just heard you say that.
I know, right? They're going to be shut down the broadcast. But no, great. Here's the thing. I think it's a great idea. I mean, if people are having a hard time seeing your content on, on Facebook, in the news feed, and you're not paying for ads, or you don't want to pay for ads, run something like this, like you said, drive them back to that content. Hey, you start to see them, engage with your content. Facebook's going to readjust that algorithm, and start to show more of your content.
Or somebody like my aunt that is a doctor and she's not on Facebook because she doesn't, want to have that liability and people finding her and messaging her or whatever. Right. And so she can still be engaged with potentially what's happening on her favorite pages or brands, I should say, without having to necessarily be on Facebook.
And, in this tool, it was, I think it comes out to about €5 a month for the premium plan. So let's just talk about pricing real quick. So it's €5 per month. Based off obviously the number of emails that you get to send per month.
In US?
It's $6, I think. Just doing some math there. So it works out to be about $6. You can remove their Relike ads. You can remove their Relike logo. You can do raw HTML editing. You can do, you get access to reporting. You've got you don't get access to CRMs or one-to-one personalized newsletters that they want to use the business side.
So you can use some custom blocks and put your own content in there, because it could be cool. If you ran contests or something, go engage with one of these 5 posts, here's our Easter egg or whatever for the month or week, and person that does whatever could win this. A good way, like you said, of gaming the news feed there in your page and building engagement.
I think doing that is fantastic. Doing the tapping into the engagement side, I think is probably the big winner for me on this, because somebody can easily go in, and it helps you add another element to your business to make things more exciting for your customers, to keep them interested. So they're working with, we've got Netflix here, we've got Louis Vuitton, we've got Bruno Mars. Here's some examples actually. So like for Netflix, they can advertise like TV shows and trailers and whatnot.
I want to see Bruno's.
Let's see what Bruno Mars is doing here. So Bruno's got, we've got a couple of photos here. But, in his case, he can also advertise like a single, for instance, that he's got at the top of his Relike newsletter. So I like this. I really do. And I think the price is pretty reasonable, considering it could have bigger ramifications. Like as a result, if somebody uses this, I think this could help your business in other ways. If you're getting people to check it out, like to check out your content, that could be an opportunity that if you have enough content flowing through your Facebook page, not just selling somebody, but it could be a way for people to learn more about your business as well. So maybe you got those newsletter subscribers you haven't converted over to Facebook. They're still, on the fence. Or as Jessica mentioned, you've got people that don't use Facebook as much or use Facebook at all. This could be a way for them to at least get a sampling of what's going on. So. Megan, any party thoughts on this particular tool?
I'm going to check it out for sure. And this will maybe motivate me to paint my house more. Get my house in order. I mean, the joke, right? Like the painter's house is never. Yeah. So
the struggle is real.
Yeah, for sure.
Very cool. So. As we mentioned, we've got a couple more topics. We'll talk about those next week. We'll put those in the blog post recap. That'll go out tomorrow. But Megan, it's been an absolute. I'm actually really glad we finally met. We talked a little bit on Messenger, but thank you so much for taking your some time out of your busy day today to chat with us about what's new this week. By the way, where can everybody find you at if they want to get in touch with you?
So I think probably the best, powersof.marketing is my website. Again, don't judge, but it's got good information on it. It just doesn't look great right now. But at Megan Powers on Twitter is probably the main. I didn't manage to get my name on any other platform, so I don't have the across the board same handle.
And here's the thing, like but I like what you said. I'm going to go like looks, like on a website, you could have the best, designed website, but if the quality, it's not necessarily about the look of the website. It's about the quality of the content. Is the person keeping you engaged? So definitely, I'm going to make sure we put that here on the Facebook page. Don't forget to check out her podcast as well. We dropped that link in there. I'm going to go check it out. Jessica,
you have to. Her podcast is amazing.
She was on episode 2, and we were.
How many episodes did you get to?
23 today. We recorded. That'll come out next week. Chatbots. We talked with Kelly Noble Marabella and one awesome. Other. Woman about AI chatbots. So it's a good one. And it's like it's not up here. It's like right here. Like totally easy to understand. Because some of those talks can get way.
You're like eyes glazed over. What did you say? Sorry, I missed it.
Hilarious that you said that, Jessica. You have to listen to it because my eyes didn't glaze over once. I said that at the end.
I love it. She's another powerhouse too. Yeah. You should have her on if you haven't already.
Thank you so much for having me on. This has been awesome. Nice to be a guest and talk about the latest. You forced me to learn some new stuff in a more timely fashion.
Drop some serious knowledge tonight. I always like getting everybody's perspective on things because a lot of people, like everybody has a different way that they do things. Marketing, everybody markets a little differently. Everybody brings a certain element to things, so it's good to have a fresh perspective. So thank you so much for joining us, Jessica. Best place for people to get in touch with you?
Sure. It's Jessica, Jessika, Phillips, Phillips, all across the web, except on Instagram. It's Relationship Marketing Jessica. So you can check me out there, or the company nowmarketinggroup.com.
Very cool. So thanks so much, both of you. I really appreciate you spending your evening with us. But everybody who's watching, we'll see you next week, episode 161. We're going to have Phil back, and we're going to be bringing on Vincent Orlek. He and I got started on Blab. Do what, Jessica?
So I got to watch that one. Vincent, he cracks me up, like everything that he says.
Yes.
I know him from Blab too. That's so fun.
So it should be a good show next week. But thank you so much for joining, everyone. We will see you next week.
See ya.
Thank you.
See ya.